Hi guys, Rob here again. Welcome to another Tuesday video. And I have to say, yesterday I dropped a video called Get Your Jaws On, which is all about the brilliant film Jaws, which is up there. And yeah, getting a lot of love on my socials and emails and messages about that. So that's really cool. I knew a lot of people my age would really love the film and dig it. And I just, yeah, getting a lot of love coming back. So all good. So what are we talking about today? Well, today I thought I'll touch upon something which I've talked about a few times before. And it's for drummers, but it goes across the board really to all instrumentalists and singers and everybody, really, is, understanding that the song comes first. As I say, I'm going to come from a drummer's point of view here mostly, but you can spread this to anything. And I think we can all be guilty of overplaying sometimes on the music. We think about the mechanics of the drumming rather than what drumming can bring to the music. So we know there's loads of amazing YouTube and Instagram especially drum covers of people playing all kinds of wonderful things over the top of like an Adele song or a basic pop song, and they're showing what you can do over the top. I mean, that is amazing, and I would say to do that, and try it yourself. Play along to a track that's kind of straightforward, and then do all of your technical stuff over the top to see what you can do, to see how far you can push it. I think that's a really good idea. But it seems to be everyone's doing that, and no one's really focusing on winding that back halfway and maybe just quarter of the way to see actually how clever it is and how musical it is. Just to play the track as authentically as you can to the original could be a good place to start. Even to the point where you don't do the fills wherever the drummer played the fills and so on. Just pulling it and stripping it right back to basics, and understanding sometimes when you hear a song and you're having that thought of, why didn't somebody play a fill here? Why didn't somebody? Because it didn't need it. The music didn't call for it. Now, the fact that you've heard it in your own head is cool. That's good. You can flag that up. But the fact that it wasn't played on the record is that everyone in the room thought that wasn't needed at that point. And 9 times out of 10, they may have had the same thought as you. Maybe a fill could fit in this position here. Ba-da-bum, pa. But they left it out. Similarly with bass drum patterns and bass lines. Listen to how those bass lines and the drummer figures his bass drum around what the bass player's doing. And one of the reasons I'm thinking about this, actually, I should have said at the start maybe, was I was listening back to the amazing band Prefab Sprout, which if you don't know who they are, go and check them out because they're a brilliant band. And Neil Conte was the drummer. And Neil is one of those drummers that you can listen to a song like maybe Moving the River, which is on Steve McQueen, where he's playing like a 16th note thing off of the hi-hats and adding little orchestrations with the band, different stabs and so on, which may seem, if you saw him playing the drum track without the track, you might think it was overplaying. But actually, when you hear it within the music, it's just so subtly placed and just perfect for the arrangement, for the song, for the feel. And Paddy McAloon does write a lot of very singer-songwriter type songs. There's grooves there, but it's all about the words and the emotion. It's not a lot about, hey, it's a funky feel it needs. And playing for somebody like that is tough because you've got to constantly come up with ideas that are going to suit what they're doing. Sometimes, I'm not saying any situation is easy, by the way. Obviously, that isn't. When you're writing original music, it's hard to come up with new stuff all of the time. I do get that. But just specifically, just focusing on this sort of the band, the material, if you go and check them out on Apple Music or Spotify and you hit the first popular 10 tunes, the first one you'll come across is King of Rock and Roll, Hot Dog, Jumping Frog, Albuquerque. That's a killer tune. But even the drumming on that, the part, whether it be the hi-hat part, the bass part, the snare part, the placement of fills, everything about it is just, it's just perfect, and I know this is subjective, but I guess with all these things, when it's so highly subjective, I'm just trying to get you to think when you listen to your favorite bands and, and wonder why they placed the bass drum, why they placed it in, and the hats and the snare and various other things, you know, when you're looking at the orchestration. And if you're not really doing that, maybe this will just not put you up a few notches so you think about that, because it is really important. And I've just done a drum clinic in, well, a masterclass with AJ Russell and Tristan Head, who owns Drumatic in Frome, and it was brilliant. We had about 10 people, just right for that room. It's a very small room, drum kit each end, beautiful. But the reason I'm coming up with it now, and I will do a video on that because I should, because it was a great day, was just that question comes up, how do I know what to play? You know, and as I say, it's highly subjective. We need to know the song, the feel, you know, the words, the emotion, you know, what style of music, all that stuff. You know, but there are some fundamentals that I think that are really, really important. And I think on this video, that's what I'm trying to get across, to really listen to everything. Yes, you bring your drumming armory with you, your arsenal of stuff. You've got it on your back ready to go, of all your chops and your grooves and whatever. But really, you have them there and you're kind of listening, but like a Jedi Knight or something. You're listening to the music and the music starts to dictate what it needs. And then when other members of the band start to piece it together, you know, that's the lovely thing. The universal kind of vibe goes around everybody, and you find that groove, you find that tempo, you find the feel, you know, and the style will define it, you know, and the dynamic and all that sort of thing. So you can use all of these things, you know, when you're composing this, but just have a little think about, you know, as I say, what you're actually playing in that song, and could things be taken out? Could they be added? Would another drum fill really benefit the track? Would it benefit our ego? Great, and why not? You know, if it's on an outro and it's on a fade, maybe that's okay. But do we need it really in the song? Or is it, yes, we do need it in a song, then put it in. So, you know, it does go both ways. I'm not just trying to say strip everything back to nothing, but see what's needed, and then just be careful with the jigsaw as you add things as you go, you know. I guess that's what I'm trying to bring to everyone's attention. Because in clinics, I'll sometimes pick a song and break it apart. People go, oh, I didn't know that bit. Or I didn't know that bit was being played on that, you know, synth or the guitar or the bass. I had no idea, you know, and I didn't think I could maybe pick up on a rhythm that's being played on that pad that's quite high in the mix up here, you know, maybe pan to the right. But, you know, I never thought I could maybe pick up on that on the hats or move along with it. It's all that stuff. So I'm trying to make it into a 10-minute video, but of course it's quite it's 35, 40 years of playing as well, and experience. But just getting on the right track, I think, is what I'm trying to say. And as I said earlier, by overplaying and then stripping it back and then pushing it to maybe halfway again and then back and then pushing it forward, it really challenges you in your rehearsal practice room, wherever you play, when you're playing along to a cover. And you can listen back to all of your different variations of it, and then somewhere is going to be the perfect one. Now, the engineer or the producer might not pick the same one as you, but if you think about it, you've got all those different grades of versions that you've done, so you can use any parts of them at any point. So there might be a bit from the complex one we need, one from the simple bit we need, one from the one that's only quarter way through that we need. Do you see what I'm trying to get at? So, as I say, it's coming up to 10 minutes. So I'm trying to keep it short and sweet, but it's quite a vast thing. But let me know what you think about it, you know, when you're composing your drum parts and overplaying, underplaying, your thoughts on all of that stuff. Just drop it in the comments down below. Always interested to share and read what other people think about this, because it's a lifelong thing and it's very much based on your musical personality, how far you're along with your playing and your experience. All of it is valid, you know, beginner to advanced. So let me know what you think. Go and check out Prefab Sprout. They're absolutely fantastic. But as I say, you could do this with any band. As ever, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen the Jaws video and you're thinking, what the hell's Jaws? Go back and watch it. It came out yesterday and I'm enjoying it. And you're not going to need a bigger boat, I promise. Ho, 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 ho. I'm not going to do all the Jaws stuff. But once again, thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, share, spread the love, leave some comments. I hope you have a cracking Tuesday night, and I'll see you again soon.